Well, happy Monday morning, Life Group leaders. We are wrapping up this week our study through the message of Hebrews, and I hope that you found this an enjoyable series and it's been great for your group. I've heard some good conversations that have come out of it. I've heard of some difficult conversations that have come out of it, but hopefully you're learning and you're growing together. That's the whole point. As we wrap this up, just a couple of things that I want to add to your discussion questions this week. Just want to point out just a few things. The first is, don't blow past the first part of this. As we finish up a series, I think it's always important for us to take a few minutes just to remember some of the things that God taught us through it. So give your people a chance through the beginning of your discussion to say, hey, what has God taught you? What are you going to walk away with through this series? Again, if we just study it for a week and then move on to whatever's next and never actually implement any of it, we're just wasting our time. So give your group a chance to go back, look at their notes, maybe even give them a heads up with an email just saying, hey, come this week and share with us the one thing out of Hebrews that God's taught you the most that you're going to implement that's made a difference in your life. So don't blow past that. Give people a chance to make those connection points in your group this week. Couple of other things, there's a lot of questions there, and I always just, by way of reminder, let you know that you don't have to go through every question. Pick the ones out that are working for your group. If it leads off onto a tangent to a different discussion, then let it go. These are all questions that I write just to help feed your thoughts, and some of them will work with some groups and some of them will work with others. Some of you don't need but one or two questions, and that's enough to launch your group into a whole conversation, and you can do that. So don't feel tied to having to go through every question. The biggest point is to get to make sure you have some good application. Give people something that they can take home take hold of as they go home from your group. With that in mind, let me just share just a couple of kind of different ideas as you're thinking about your application. So the whole point that we kind of drove home was walking away from the story of Esau with that understanding of not trading something greater later for something inferior now. And so let me just give you a quick illustration or a way to play that out with your group. Something you may consider doing is getting a piece of paper for everybody in your group and a pen and handing it out and ask them to write down what is the most important things in their life. Maybe just five. What are the five most important things? And most of them are going to write something like their marriage and Jesus and their job, their kids, their health. Ask them to write down what are the five most important things in your life, and then just have them write them down. And then ask the question. Try to point out what are some things, if this is what is most important to you, what are some things that you are trading for what you say is most important? Let me try to clarify. So if somebody writes down their health, they say the health is one of my most important things, but then they go to eat at McDonald's, 3 times a week. What ends up happening is we trade what we say is most important, what is most important, for what's important now. We trade what we say we want the most for what we want now. That's probably a better way to say it. We trade what we say we want the most for what we want now. If you say your kids are the most important, and yet you spend all day kind of shooing them away or going to do something else or going to play golf when you have one day to be with your kids, you say that your kids are what's most important, but you trade what you want most for what you want now. Does that make sense? And so that would be a good challenge. So if you say Jesus is most important, yet you're living and walking in unrepentant sin, you're trading what you say you want the most for what you want now, and you're choosing that temporary pleasure over what you say is most important. And so that's a good way to challenge your group to write down what is it that you say you want the most, what is most important, and then am I living as if those things are most important, or am I trading what I say I want most for what I want now? So that'd be a way to maybe put some application on that for your group. One other thing that I just wanted to point out from the text that you can kind of use to break down for your application is in this text, starting in Hebrews 12 verse 14, 3 times in this text, the preacher uses this phrase, see to it, or see that. And so those are application points that we can look at. You find one in verse 15, see to it that no one misses the grace of God. So he puts that onus on us, as we talked about. Verse 16 says, see to it that no one is sexually immoral or godless like Esau. So see to it that nobody's like Esau, who's sexually immoral or, what's the other part? Or godless. Sorry, just lost it. See to it that nobody is godless like Esau. And then the last one is in verse 25, where he says, see to it that you do not refuse him who speaks. And so those are three kind of really poignant places in this last section. See to it. Make sure you do this. This is your application. And it gives you three of them there to wrap up our series together. Hopefully that wasn't too rambly and you got something out of it. Just looking for ways to help plug this series up, wrap it up with your group, to make sure that we walk away actually doing something with what we've spent time learning together. Love you guys. Have a great week. If there's any way that I can serve you, just give me a call here at the office. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.